Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at one of the earliest Macs in my collection. In fact, it's the second oldest one I have, and it's even a little older than I am. This is the Macintosh Plus. I was lucky enough to recently pick this up, and I mean, it's just beautiful. Look at that. It has the original box. It's of course in the original packaging, or as close as it can be 30 plus years later. It did include some cool accessories like this external 800K floppy disk drive and this ImageWriter II dot matrix printer. So first I'm going to unbox the Macintosh Plus here and see if we get it to work. And then I have a Macintosh 512K that I'd like to compare the Macintosh Plus to see what some of the differences were. So with that said, let's get started. Oh, and just before we move on, here's the printer. This is the ImageWriter II dot matrix printer. This is the later Platinum version. I just couldn't fit the box on the disk before. But alright, let's get going and open up the Macintosh Plus. Alright, so here it is in all its glory. This is the Macintosh Plus with its original box. I saw this posted on social media for sale and I knew I just had to have it. I had a Macintosh Plus ages ago. I don't even remember how I got it, but I think I got it for free. I didn't have the keyboard or a mouse, and I think it had some issues and it didn't turn on. So unfortunately, I ended up giving it away along with a broken Macintosh SE. I regret that decision immensely, but I think that this find will happily make up for it. I think that this Macintosh Plus is a slightly newer revision. I say that because the box isn't the color printed one I've seen online, but from the looks of it, it looks like a cost-saving limited color version. From what I understand, there were a few revisions of these Macs. According to the awesome lowendmac.com website, the case color of the Mac changed from beige to platinum in 1987. This box even says copyright 1987 on it, so I'm going to guess that this is the newer platinum model. It should also have the newer version of the system ROM installed, which is good news. This new ROM was introduced a few months after the original model was released in 1986. This ROM update fixed some SCSI related startup issues, which we can hopefully avoid. So let's get right into it and open it up to see what we've got. Oh nice, look at that accessories box. We'll take a look at what's inside shortly. They spared no expense, even the foam has Apple logos imprinted on them. Oh wow, so all the accessories seem to be still in their original foam cases. Here is the mouse and the keyboard. I'm sure glad they kept it in this good of a condition for all of these years. Alright, first we'll take out the keyboard. Oh, that's cool. I like the little cutouts on the styrofoam here. I'm guessing that this made it easier to scan those barcodes while packing these computers up at the factory. And finally, the Macintosh Plus itself. And looks like we have some stragglers left behind. Oh, these look like drive label stickers, I think. There's something on the bottom here. Let's see what that is. Oh, hey, bonus. Look at that. Original Apple stickers. Oh, wow. Yeah, these are the old ones. I love that typeface. What a pleasant little surprise. So on the side of the styrofoam that we pulled out is this barcode sticker. I was curious what that meant. Was it, encoding anything or anything like that? Well, I have this Palm Pilot here. Well, it's actually a handspring Palm Pilot, and it has this barcode scanner attachment on the top. So I pointed it at the label and yeah, I don't know what I expected, but okay, that's what it says right there. So I guess this label doesn't have any secrets to reveal. Alright, we have everything out of the box, and wow, is that beautiful. Alright, so let's open up the keyboard. A nice little touch on there, Apple Computer incorporated and printed on the back, and the little Apple logo in the bottom left corner. Nice touch. Ooh, wow. Now that looks like it's in pretty good condition to me. Let's give it a test. Oh yeah. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, that is so satisfying to type on. And we have the little telephone handset style cable for the keyboard. This plugs in right to the front of the Macintosh, just like on the earlier models. This was the last Mac to use that connector before Apple switched the Macs to ADB connectors. Now we have the mouse. Again, it's cool to see this little window here so you could read the model number. Look at that, M0100. Alright, so let's open this up. Oh wow, that's beautiful. It's a shame we have to take it out of its neatly packed package, but, well, we have to use the computer somehow, and I intend to use the mouse. Okay, so we have the keyboard and the mouse taken out. Now let's look at that accessory box. The accessory box I have for the original Macintosh was all plastic. This instead is cardboard. I'm guessing this was a cost-saving measure. Anyway, let's look and see what we have inside. First we have the manual for the Macintosh Plus. That is in pretty good condition too. I love these images. These colorful photos are just really great of, just showing the Macintosh Plus in action. But who has a desk setup like this? Jeez. Oh wow, is this audio cassette sealed? It is. Well, I'm sure someone already archived this online already, so I'm certainly not going to open it up. But that's something you certainly don't see every day. The cassette is a pretty cool idea. If it's anything like the Macintosh 512K's cassette, you put this in your tape player and give it a listen while you set up your Macintosh, and it guides you through the process. The computer mouse was something that was pretty revolutionary and quite new at the time, so having a cassette to guide you through the process along with the manual probably helped a lot of people use the computer for the very first time. The original floppy disks here are missing, which is unfortunate because you need them to run the computer. But I do have a few discs in my collection, and I can always make a fresh set if needed. At least we have what is commonly referred to as the programmer switch. These are two buttons that snap onto the left side of your Macintosh. These buttons push plastic pegs through the vents of the case to reach internal buttons. These were used when programming or debugging Macintosh software. They're totally optional and wouldn't really be used unless you are a programmer or the computer froze up, but they're nice to find in the original box. Next up is the power cord, which is hopefully in this little box. And yeah, there it is. Hey, look at that, there's even a little Apple logo imprinted on it. Pretty cool. Alright, so here's everything out of the Mac Plus box. So let's plug everything in and see if we can get the Mac to boot up. I have a collection of floppy disks here for some of my early Macs. A few of them are labeled specifically for the Mac Plus, so we should be able to get things up and running quite smoothly. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Let's turn it on. Well, that's a relief. The disk drive has the protective disk that comes with it when it ships, so we just need to wait for it to eject it, which it should do on its own. And there we go. Now we could put a system disk in and hope it boots up. Awesome, there we go. It looks like it's reading the disk. Yeah, there we go. We're in the Macintosh operating system. It's always nice when they boot up without a fuss. Now I'm sure this machine needs some recapping and stuff. I'm not going to do that in this video, but it's nice to see that it works right out of the box. So this is indeed a later Platinum model from 1987. However, let's compare the colors. I have an original Macintosh 512K model here, which is beige. Besides the fact that both of these machines could probably use a good cleaning, some people mistakenly think that the Macintosh 512K needs to be retro-brighted, but no, that's actually the original color. So here we have a beige and a platinum, class of 1984 and 1987 respectively. Both of these Macs are very similar on the surface, well, besides the color. However, the Macintosh Plus was released 2 years after the original Macintosh 128K, and a year and 4 months after the Macintosh 512K. Even within that short time period, there was a lot of advancements in computer technology, and the prices even went down on memory modules and other chips. When comparing the Macintosh 512K with the Plus, the first thing to note is that it has double the memory of the 512K. It has a full 1 megabyte. The Mac Plus also houses an internal 800K floppy drive, replacing the 400K single-sided disk drive in the older Mac. The Plus has the addition of a SCSI port for external hard drives and other peripherals. It also introduced smaller serial ports, replacing the old DB9 serial connectors with compact mini DIN connectors. These new serial ports would be used on the Apple IIgs and would replace all serial ports on future Macintoshes until the iMac in 1998 replaced them with USB ports. This is also the first Macintosh with expandable memory. This was a huge deal as the original Macintosh didn't have memory slots. Instead, the memory was soldered onto the board, which unfortunately seems to be a trend again these days in Apple products. The memory slots added to the Macintosh Plus was probably a response to the original Macintosh machines being heavily criticized for not having expandable memory. The Mac Plus also has a nicer keyboard, which has a slightly different layout. This includes arrow keys, which were not present on the original Mac keyboard unless you had the number pad accessory. It also includes, well, a built-in number pad, something that was an add-on for the original Mac. And these keys are just fun to type on. Just listen to that springy goodness. Well, now that we have everything set up, it would be a shame not to unbox its friends. Here we have an external 800K floppy disk drive. This was a very popular accessory as the Mac Plus only had one built-in floppy drive. So if you booted up your Mac Plus from the internal floppy disk drive, the second external disk drive made opening programs, copying files, and even copying disks much easier. Remember, these Macs did not have a built-in hard drive, and although you could thankfully add one via the SCSI port on the back, the floppy disk drive was all that you could use for storage when you bought the machine. So there's not much inside here. We have the manual for the floppy disk drive, which is nice. We also have the original styrofoam packaging on the disk drive, and it seems to be in this little bag too, so let's take that off. It's important to note that although the disk drives look similar, the Macintosh can only use one external disk drive, unlike the Apple II disk drives, which you could daisy chain. That's why there's this little plastic cover on the port here. Apple didn't want you to get the wrong idea. But actually, this drive is fully compatible with the Apple IIgs and other 800K compatible Apple II systems. If you're going to daisy chain this disk drive with other disk drives on your Apple II system, simply remove the cover. This disk drive must have been well taken care of. The original label is still on the cord. Usually the label has been ripped off. So now we have the disk drive unpacked and ready to be plugged into our Macintosh Plus, but we still have one box to unbox. Now let's turn our attention to the beautiful Apple ImageWriter II printer. Unfortunately, this box isn't as well kept as the others, but it was interesting to see that there's this platinum sticker on there to show that this was a later model ImageWriter II printer. The ImageWriter II is a dot matrix printer made by Apple. It debuted in September of 1985 and wasn't discontinued until late 1996. That's right, this printer was on sale for over a decade. And it's not hard to see why. These things are workhorses. The three I already have in my collection work beautifully, even to this day. In fact, that's an ImageWriter II printer you see in the introduction to my videos. They're quite versatile little printers and have a lot of neat features and expandability options. You could even print in color. But don't worry, I'll be focusing an entire video on this printer in the near future. This is the first Apple ImageWriter I've seen in the box. I have a few of the ImageWriter 2 models and one ImageWriter 1 model, but if I'm going to build an army of Print Shop Deluxe banner making systems, another ImageWriter is always welcome. As I open the box here, I noticed this page on top. Okay, well this is interesting. This is like a demo printout. So this came in the box to show off what you could do with the printer. Now that's really cool. It's amazing that they kept this. I'll have to scan this in. Alright, we have the manual for the printer as well. Wow, look at the bottom of the manual here. It mentions the Apple II, the Apple III, the Macintosh XL, and the Lisa. That certainly dates it. I do see a box in here for the printer cable, but unfortunately it's empty. That's okay, as I do have plenty of spare cables. But that makes me think. As we could see by the manual, this printer was compatible with a lot of different Apple computers. These computers had different serial port connectors, which needed different wires to connect to printers. So it does make sense that the cable was packaged separately, so Apple could include a different one in the box when you bought the printer. At least I hope they included the printer cable in the box, because otherwise, that's just a cheap move by Apple. Have you ever bought an ImageWriter 2 when it was brand new? Was the cable included in the box? If so, leave a comment below. I'm really curious to learn how this was actually packaged. It also looks like it's missing the power cord, but I have plenty of those. Alright, now it's time to lift this massive beast out of the box. Ah, that's a beautiful sight. I'm pretty confident the printer will work fine, but I'm going to guess the ribbon may need to be replaced. Well, there's only one way to find out, but thankfully we don't have to plug it into a computer to see if the ribbon works or not. The printer includes a built-in self-test feature. So we'll just follow the instructions in the manual and see what happens. Well, it's certainly trying its hardest, but although we do see some ink making it onto the page, it's clear that this ribbon has dried out. But not to worry, I have other used ribbons and a few ones that are still new in the box. Yeah, this ribbon looks pretty used, and when I try and turn the knob here to advance the ribbon, I get nothing. This is usually because the roller inside is wrapped in foam, which has likely deteriorated over the past 30 or so years. Yep, opening it up confirms that. Although some of this ribbon may be usable, there's no easy way to get it working. So the easiest thing is to just replace the ribbon, and yeah, that is much better. Alright, so now that everything is unboxed, the next logical step is to reunite everything and plug it all in. Although some of this needs some cleaning, so let's do that first. I always forget to clean everything until the end of the video, so I'm sorry if you've been seeing a lot of dirt and grime for the past 15 minutes or so. The Macintosh Plus wasn't too bad, but there were some dirty spots on the front and the back. I did forget to record it, but I did also clean the printer as well. Thankfully it wasn't too dirty. And now we'll just clean off the keyboard. And we'll clean off the mouse. And the disk drive. Alright, now that looks pretty awesome. A very sweet setup for 1987 indeed. Now that everything's together, let's go for a test drive. I hope you enjoyed unboxing this Macintosh Plus with me. I'm certainly not done with the machine yet. I do want to upgrade its memory, so I can upgrade it all the way up to 4 megabytes. If any of you know where to find the 4 1 megabyte 30-pin SIMs at 150 NS, let me know. I'd be happy to find out. I also want to install a SCSI to SD adapter so I can boot off something other than the built-in floppy disk drive or the external floppy disk drive. I also want to open it up and give it a good cleaning. Thankfully, the battery is accessible on the outside of the machine, so I know that's in good shape. But I want to make sure none of the capacitors or anything else need replacing, or if there's anything else that's yucky inside of there. I want to thank my Patreon supporters, especially Andy, Greg, Jay, and Larry. So thank you very much for your support. I mean, this video couldn't have happened without your support, so I greatly appreciate it. And if you want to support us, you could just do so right on patreon.com/Mac84. And you get all sorts of cool perks for doing so. You get early access to these videos, exclusive behind-the-scene video content you can't get anywhere else, and even some really cool printed out certificates straight from my very own ImageWriter II dot matrix printer. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please feel free to do so. You click that little subscribe button, and don't forget to click that notification bell. That'll inform you when I release a new video or when I do a live video or anything like that. As always, you could follow me on Instagram and Twitter. My handle is Mac84TV, and you can just see what I'm doing on a daily basis. But I guess that's it, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Mac84.